Alright, this is a video that I probably did a few years ago when I started this channel. Or maybe not, but I think it was time to revamp for those of you who don't know, because I talk scattered. So I'm putting it together. What is the actual event that made me realize I was being narcissistically abused, and to start my therapy, my therapeutic approach to recovery? So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. So for those who have been following me since the beginning, know that I was living off and on in LA with a guy I met. Now, granted, the way I got into this relationship was weird. I wanted to live in LA, and because I was tired and frustrated of not growing professionally here in Montreal, and so I did the legwork to go to LA. I had met someone prior from LA here, and we tried to date, and it didn't work because, well, he was a former porn star and the narcissism was big there, but we weren't in a real... That was also a narcissistic relationship, but it got cut short after he came to visit me here, and the second time he pushed me away, expecting me to come back. I had already done legwork to go to LA for a month and met someone else. So when he found that out, he was like, oh, you're already in a situation. So it kind of cut short in a way. So I met this new guy who was older, and I assumed wiser, as the porn star was younger and Kim Kardashian-like, right? Not in the look, you know, it was a guy, but in the attitude, like a typical LA, if you're beautiful, you don't have to work, you have 2 or 3 sugar daddies taking care of you, and you expect people to pay for you, right? So, and of course you write it on your Facebook at the time that, oh, everyone's after me, oh, I turned down this marriage proposal, I did this, I did that, and then you disassociate from Facebook, and then you come back a year or 2 later. That's what the porn star would be doing. It was very narcissistic, extremely, trying to portray a character. But this new guy I thought was a little different. He was older, a couple years older than me, and I assumed that someone older than me, established. He was an optician, not an optometrist. He sold glasses to celebrities, and I figured, okay, he's cute enough to try to talk with him. And the website I was on was Couchsurfing. Now, Couchsurfing, unlike Airbnb, is you're basically staying at someone's couch for a weekend. My proposal was for a month. So it was harder. I really did not want to pay any money. I was keeping my place here. I wanted to stay for a month so I can, you know, go to gyms and try to get employment, and then see what I can do. Or maybe get into a relationship and find someone and possibly marry, you know. Not all in one shot, but, you know, you have to be there longer to kind of meet people. And I already knew that I had trouble meeting people, period. I had trouble with relationships, period. So, little did I know this whirlwind of a relationship. This guy, of course, was interested, and already he was talking about marriage and getting me there and all that. I was like, cool. Little naive me. That we seem to have things in common. The red flags now, there was a big red flag that I saw and I ignored it because I was already going to LA for a month and I needed a place to stay. And I was still trying to be compassionate, or I don't know if the word is empathetic, but I kind of figured, I have to get to know the person, despite first reactions. But we had tried online, we FaceTime all the time, and texted all the time. But and it looked like he was really working for me, trying to talk to people, to get me there. He really wanted me there, and I'm like, okay, cool. So we tried the online sexting, and in all honesty, it was terrible. He's not sexy. So I'm kind of like, it's not working, but in my head I'm like, I understand that what's happening online and in person can be different. And I still believe that's true. Like people who are not as photogenic on social media, but they're semi-photogenic, they look okay, are usually better looking in person, and I usually find them more attractive in person. So I was going with that. And anyway, so he came to visit. This was in the summertime. He came to visit me here. And all seemed good. Just like this on and off relationship I've been having for the past 20 years. Should get to another video on that. I think I'm going to restart a lot of these videos and really solidify my path, my journey, because it's scattered. I know it's scattered. So he came, and well, before that, before he came, there was another little red flag which made me feel uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything. Was he blurted out to people what my sexual fetish was. Just haphazardly, just like that, like it's nothing, Didn't keep it to us or anything. That made me feel really uncomfortable. But I didn't say anything. I'm like, okay, I'm probably too uptight. He's open, open, easygoing, LA American type thing, because Americans in general, in my opinion, are more extroverted, but not really. But here in Montreal, where it's kind of European-like, people keep themselves and they don't talk to people unless they're out of their bubble. That was my impression. I'm generalizing, but yeah. So he came, and all was good, and the sex was decent the first time. We didn't have sex, but it was sensual. It was like, okay, there's something there, I already know that it takes a few times for me to get to a person, to fall for them or whatever. I realize that, it's always like a job interview. People put their best foot forward, but I'm always vigilant to see what happens when things go badly. They went badly pretty quickly, because I had mentioned they would go walking on the mountain, exercising, but sightseeing at the same time. It's a high mountain. When he got here, he started complaining, like, I'm not going to do that, I don't want to start sweating and all that. And I was like, wow, you don't want to start sweating, you're in LA, all people do is work out, and he wasn't in shape, he had a belly, right? But in his head, as I know from constant repetition, he saw himself as skinny. That's what he wanted. And he always complained of the fact that, why are you attracted to me? I'm not your type. I'm not a big bear type. But he was. He was denying that, you know. He could easily be bigger, you know. But he was trying to be slimmer. So he was fighting against his natural tendency, because he had pictures when he was a kid and he was slim. But I guess he was what, 49, 48, 49 at the time. Something's not congruent. If you're not living your life in the gym and being active and you're just driving everywhere and then you're at home eating shit, how's that going to happen? So anyway, so the exercising on the hill was a problem. I think he didn't come. We went to go get smoked meat. We went to get smoked meat. I don't remember what else. Besides the complaining. That's all I can remember right now. But I immediately saw that we're not compatible. This is like, there's nothing here. You know what I mean? But shit, I bought my plane ticket. I gotta go to LA. I only stay there for a month. So I'm like, okay, I'll stay for a month. And he was already inviting people over. He had this straight guy at his place. Like, that's what he did. He had his ad on couch surfing, and he would have people over. That was his thing. I kind of saw that. So when he left, I wrote him a long email. I thought it over, and I was like, you know, this isn't working out. I have it somewhere. So it was very well thought out and very cordial, but saying, you know, this isn't working out. I don't know if it's anything but me going or whatever. I don't know. But at the time, obviously, I couldn't take responsibility to just get a place myself, and, you know, obviously I was doing a bit of manipulation because I didn't want to ruin everything that I was putting together. I dropped off my clients, and I was keeping the condo here though. So I was only staying for a month, but it was my way to transition out of my frustrating, stagnant professional life here and go to LA again, which I had been in the 90s also. This is a recurring theme to kind of get out of Montreal. So he emailed me back, but he didn't receive the email. So in my head, I'm like, okay, he's old, he doesn't understand tech, whatever. And then he started pleading with me, I'm sorry, I'm going to my therapist now, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't know anything about therapists. I never had one. When I left my parents' place, I was working on myself all the time. And I was realizing a lot of things about myself. But I had wanted to go see a therapist because I knew there was things I needed to kind of work on. I didn't pinpoint them, and I didn't want to spend the money tied up with a therapist. Like, I assumed a therapist was like $80 to $100 a session, and I'd have to go for my whole life and a few times a week, and I didn't want to spend that money. So, he told me he was going to this therapist and that, you know, whatever. I was like, okay, cool, he's working on himself. So I was like, I ignored the email I wrote. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I was also like, I already bought my ticket, I gotta go. And so I went.